today we're going to do a review of the area of rectangles. This is something that you did in 5th grade, so it should be pretty easy, but there might be some new things for you to learn. So the formula is an equation that shows a relationship among certain quantities. The formula for finding the area of a rectangle is A equals L times W. You'll also see it written A equals B times H, B being the base and H being the height. But this is also length and width. So this is also base and height. So the area A of a rectangle is L, the length, times the W width. So length times width. So it's just this times this. And if you were looking at this and say it was in square inches, and you separated these out, and let's pretend all of those are the same, and it's all very straight. So this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 inches. And the width would be 1, 2, 3 inches. And so 8 times 3 is 24, so there should be 24 squares in here. And sure enough, if I count them, (23, 24). So there's 24 in there, and that's how you get the area. The area is what covers the form of the rectangle. So it's the amount that covers the inside. Whenever you think about area, you think of carpeting covering a floor. You think of paint covering a wall. You think of grass covering the ground. You think of a blanket, the fabric of a blanket, the fabric of a cell. This is all things that cover something, and that's where you use area. So if you have the area of a rectangle, the first thing you want to do, if I'm solving this problem here, you can easily say 32 yards squared. But we want you to make sure, because the problems get more complicated than that. So we want to make sure that you put the formula, which is A equals length times width, and then you substitute in A equals 8 times 4. That's substituting, that's the L and that's the W. So the third line is the solution, A equals 32. And then you always want to include your units. And your units are yards, but because it's yard times yard, it's called squared. And you put a little 2 here, and that means squared, that you have multiplied two things together that are the same dimensions. So then this one is same format. You do the formula, and I know that gets old, but trust me, whenever these get more complicated, you're going to be glad that you have the formula. So area equals length times width. Area equals 6 times 7. Area equals 42, and then don't forget my labels. It's meters, and because it's area, it's squared. And if you go back, whenever this was lined out, don't these look like squares? These are little squares. So that's where the square comes from. So this one, area equals, and let's do base times height. Base times height. Area equals a base of 6 feet and a height of 14 feet. So area equals, and I don't know my 14s by memory, so I go 14 times 6, 6, 7, 8. So 84, and it's feet squared. And I want to make sure and include my my labels. Include my measurements. Okay, so the formula for finding the area of a square is area equals S squared. Well, what do you think that S stands for? The area of a square is the S, the side, squared. And that just means a number multiplied by itself. And when that makes sense, because a square has 4 equal sides. So if you have 4 equal sides, to find the area is just S times S, or S squared. Okay? And S times S. So if you have these figures, then you see it's a square. All the sides are equal. So you put area equals S squared. Area equals, substitute in 4 times 4. Area equals 16, and my units are feet squared. And if you had this divided, and say each one of those is a foot represented by 4, you get 16. And sure enough, there's 16 if you add them up, and it's feet squared. So square feet. So this one, area, now they've only given you one side, but you know this is a square. It should be marked that this is a square. Area equals side squared. Area equals 10 times 10. Area equals 10 times 10 is 100. Don't forget my units, inches squared. So go ahead and do this example. 12 centimeters. If it's 12 centimeters on one side, it's 12 centimeters on all sides because it's a square. And what is the area? Okay, so then you have to use what you know about the area formula. It says, Mr. Talton wants to plant grass in a square space that has an area of 64 feet squared. How much will a side measure? So write your formula. You're finding area of a square. So you look on your formula chart and it says area of a square is side squared. So 64, you substitute in what you know. 64 is side times side. So that's basically saying what number times itself equals 64. Well, we know that that number would be 8. And we want to write the units. And it's just feet this time because we're just finding out one side. 8 times 8 is 64. And so my answer is S equals 8 feet. A small square is inside a larger square. The larger square is 14 feet long. The smaller square is 2 feet long. What is the area of the shaded region? Okay, so now we're looking for the area of the orange part. Okay, so this is a second type of example. A small square is inside a larger square. The larger square is 14 feet long. The smaller square is 2 feet long. What is the area of the shaded region? And you have a picture here. So this big square is 14 feet, but then you're taking out this smaller square. So how would you find what is orange, basically? So you need to find the area of the whole thing and then subtract out this area. It's kind of like a donut, and you wouldn't include the middle in the area of a donut. So we want to find the area of the larger square first. Area equals S squared because it is a square. So area equals 14 times 14. And of course, again, I don't have my 14s memorized. So 14 times 14 . 196. So the area of the large square is 196 feet squared. Now I have to take out the area of this one. Well, the area of this one, area equals S squared. Area equals 2 times 2. Area equals 4 feet squared. So then I have to subtract. I have to take this away. So it's 196 minus 4 equals 192, and it's still square feet. So this is 192 square feet. And let's look, and sure enough, we have the right answer. So here is your homework check for tomorrow. go ahead and do these 3 problems and write down your answers so that you can have these for your teacher tomorrow. And the first is finding what is the area of a square. The second is if you're given the area and you're given one side length, how do you find the other side length? And then the last one is similar to the last example that we did. You need to draw the picture and find your answer. So you may want to pause here so that you can work through these problems. So here is your homework check for tomorrow. Go ahead and do these 3 problems and write down your answers so that you can have these for your teacher tomorrow. And the first is finding what is the area of a square. The second is if you're given the area and you're given one side length, how do you find the other side length? And then the last one is similar to the last example that we did. You need to draw the picture and find your answer. So you may want to pause here so that you can work through these problems.